This is Orest, the official old guy at oldguytalkstome.com, a podcast dedicated to helping older guys create kick-ass lives for themselves and those that they love. It's for women, too. Each week, I bring you a special guest to help you create that life that you imagine for yourself and those that you love. We talk anti-aging medicine, personal growth, relationships, and sex, vices, and other topics that many don't want to talk about but need to. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to be old. Also, if you want to know 3 ways to get laid more frequently without begging, go to oldguytalks.com and opt in. When you do, you're going to get my informative video on 3 simple things you can do to get laid more frequently without begging, so you don't have to turn in your man card. And ladies, you may want your man to know these things, because I think you'll like them too. Additionally, you'll be notified weekly when a new podcast episode is ready for you to consume. Periodically, I will share with you other stuff that will help you create that life that you want for yourself and those that are important to you. Don't want to miss anything? Be sure to subscribe, share, and review this podcast. This podcast brought to you with the support of Artista Cigars, makers of the Big Papi, my favorite, a cigar designed by baseball superstar David Ortiz. And be sure to check out my podcast with Ram Rodriguez, the 3rd generation CEO of Artista Cigars. You'll learn a lot about, well, what it takes to grow tobacco for cigars. So Ram, are you, yeah, okay. So now we got it, folks. We figured it out.
I made it.
Hey.
Better late than never.
Hey, listen, it was just a technical. We were just trying to figure out all the shit going on. And fortunately, we got Catalina and Moda were very patient while we were screwing around and trying to figure shit out. And I think that, and Jonathan just joined us. Welcome, Jonathan. And so we got some stuff here. And so Ram, I got thank you for sending me the Buffalo 10 and the Big Papis. I enjoyed that. I always love the Big Papis. That is my go-to cigar. It's got one right here. David Ortiz. I'm still trying to book David on my podcast. But that's not what we're here to talk about. So we're here to talk about, and I got my Scotch. Are you drinking anything, or do you have a cigar? I'm
taking something very Dominican. It's called Enriquillo.
And what is that? Is that like a rum, or what is that like?
It's a soft drink. It's club soda.
Oh, okay. You're being good. My God.
I'm behaving today.
Yeah.
For now.
What time is it in the Dominican Republic right now?
7.
God, I'd be well on to, well, you're a young guy, because usually the old guy thinks about going to bed hi, Lemmy and Vita. So the old guy's thinking about going to bed at 9 o'clock. If he's up until 9 o'clock, that's like, oh my God, it's an incredible message. So let's talk about, and then I'm also going to episode 21 on Old Guy Talks to Me podcast is where I interview Ram, and we get into, well, we have a good time. We're drinking. It's late at night, and we're having some drinks with some cigars, and we're talking about we're talking about the cigar business at that point, and find out a little bit of history about Ram, because he's a 3rd generation in the business, and he kind of got into it. So let's talk about this Buffalo 10, and I'm going to read this little description here. Oh gosh, I just read this here. We make cigars, not money. I hope you make some money, because you don't make any money, you can't make any cigars, dude. I mean, that sounds kind of nice, but
it works for me.
Yeah, hey, listen, I think you make some money. I think you're bullshitting me on that one. So it's a blend, a toothy, rich Mexican San Andrew wrapper, covers a Dominican Negrito binder, and fillers from the USA, Colombia, and Nicaragua. Also used in the filler is an exclusive Dominican leaf known as T13, which Artista has been patiently aging for 7 years. And so T13, it sounds like a secret laboratory experiment. Do you have security around your laboratory where you're secretly aging it?
It kind of, like, is actually, like a seed that it was developed by a group of persons, and it's called T13 because it was the trial number 13 when we actually found a seed that had the properties that we were looking for. That was a project done mainly by the Dominican Tobacco Institute, which doesn't know, is a government institution here in the Dominican Republic that aids the tobacco industry with these kind of things, developing new seeds, making sure the tobacco that we grow here on the island has the right properties and the right quality and many different things. So they were developing that seed for a while. It takes a while to make a trial because you basically need to, oh my God, I'm sorry, to test the tobacco each growing season, until you finally, in one of those seasons, you find a tobacco that is very interesting for you.
Yeah.
And
so Rab, I remember because you said a while. How long is a while in years?
T13, I think it was like 10 years, more or less.
Wow. So you weren't even involved in the company when this started, if I remember correctly.
I was not even involved in the company when everything started.
Okay.
We always participate, like the company, Artista. We always collaborate a lot with the Dominican Tobacco Institute. The credit of the development of that seed is for them, for the Dominican Tobacco Institute, and it's actually a seed that can be acquired through them as well. But we were the first one to use it on a brand to commercially grow the tobacco. We were the first factory that jumped into that. We also collaborate a lot during the whole process, and thanks to that, my father was actually awarded as Industrial of the Year in the year 2014. The T13 for me is a very special tobacco. The characteristics it has are very distinctive and unique. And just the fact that it's a seed 100% developed by Dominicans is a added value and something very important for me. And we've been using that tobacco mainly on the Puro Ambar line. We use it as wrapper for a couple of years, and we also have used use it as fillers in some of our other blends. And it's a very good and special tobacco. Another very special tobacco the Buffalo 10 has is the Negrito. Negrito is another Dominican tobacco. This one is way older. It was actually very popular back in the 50s and 60s, but it lost popularity of the easier to grow tobaccos. And it took us a while in order to get very good quality seeds and try it on the farms to make sure we can make it on a commercial level. We were able to achieve it. We use that tobacco mainly as wrapper for our Polita line, but here in the Buffalo, there is a little bit of that Negrito as well.
So, over a 10-year period, the seed changes. So how do you know that the seed that you started with is the same that you got like in the 10 years later, that has not basically evolved or changed in a significant way? How do you make sure that doesn't happen?
Just with the seeds you get in one plant, you can grow a lot of tobacco. So usually our seeds are very old, and that's one of the things. And we are also make sure that the plants that we use to use for future crops, where we let the flower grow and we remove the seeds out of it, we make sure there's no cross-pollination. So basically what we do is that we cover that flower and protect it against any bees or any insect that might cause pollination. Because if they're on the farm next door, they're growing other variety of tobacco, there might be some contamination.
Okay. All right. So that's good. So that's how you control the purity of the process. And what was the motivation to create the cigar? Because you already have you got how many cigars you have that you under the El Artista brand that you have?
So under El Artista Cigars, we have right now 8 brands. But the truth is that we have many other brands that we also sell in other channels. El Artista owns around 35 different brands.
Okay.
Yes, and plus the other cigars that we make for private labels.
Right, because you have a lot. You have a lot of companies that buy the majority of your tobacco is bought by other companies for their cigars.
Yes, that's correct. I'm gonna move real quick to turn on the lights because it's getting dark.
Okay, no problem.
That's better.
Yeah. So, a lot of cigars come in different sizes, but you chose to keep this in one size. Why'd you guys do that?
With Buffalo 10 in particular, we wanted to do something with a lot of value, and we focus a lot in the blend more than anything else. It's a very low price point cigar. It retails, MSRP is around $5, depending on the state where you are at. And if you people that have smoked
plus tax,
yes, yeah. It's a cigar with a lot of value. You get a lot for that price. We were able to achieve that. Trying hard to keep everything else very simple presentation, mainly, and also in the production side. If we have many SKUs, it costs more money in order for us to keep control and stock of all of them. So we decided to go with one size only. For that mainly, our focus was simplicity. Let the cigars to talk by itself. Let the quality in the cigar talk by itself.
That's nice. That's nice. So I just want a little shameless plug here for people that are on board. If you go to oldguytalks.com and you opt in, the old guy will share with you his 3 ways, not 1, not 2, but 3 ways to get laid more frequently without begging. That's of course, and that of course is if you are in a committed relationship. If you're finding your connections on Tinder, Bumblebee, Wasp, Rattlesnake, whatever sites are out there, that's not for you. But also, you'll see my interview with Ram. We went into a lot of length talking about the cigar business on episode 21 of oldguytalkstome.com. That's my podcast. That's you can find that on the blog. So tell us, of course, everyone's been affected by COVID. How have you guys been affected by COVID, and what strategies that you have you done to deal with it?
Yeah, so same as everywhere in the world, we were not expecting any of this at first. Even the government here said that it's gonna be like in 15 days we're gonna be fine. So first thing that happened, I travel a lot. I usually do like 130,000 miles per year. When everything starts, getting more serious, I was actually traveling. And for me, the first reaction is when I came home that nobody wanted to be close with me because I was overseas. It was like, what the hell is going on, And the government, I actually expedite my flight because the government was going to shut down the borders here. And one of the laws, they say, like, free trade zones, we are a free trade zone, free trade zones can operate. But everything else is basically closed. And in our case, we were not ready for that, to make sure everybody was safe in the workplace. So we decided to close as well, just as many other companies did here. I was extremely worried, me personally, because, we closed for 2 months and we had no idea what was going to happen. But at the same time, we were getting a lot of orders, and I was like, oh my God, like we don't know where we're going to open, and we're getting orders at the same time. Like, this is just crazy. Like, we just had any idea whatsoever. Sorry. In these 2 months, we were able to organize the layout of the factory, set some procedures in order to guarantee the health of all of our staff. We are a very old company, and we have a lot of old people working with us. So
well, you have multi-generational people too. I mean, people
exactly, yes. So another thing in the meantime with HR, we were analyzing the amount, the staff per their medical condition and their age, to see, like, when we start, we're going to start with this group, then this group, you know, just to make sure everybody's safe. We've been very lucky that in our factory, the COVID haven't spread. I know in some other companies, they have some very big issues on that side. In our case, we were, on the first month, we were doing, we still are doing a random COVID tests in different departments of the company. We actually have done a test to the whole population in the company. And the biggest rate that we had was like 0.5%. Had COVID in a time that where we
that's low.
Everybody. It's very low. Yes, we've been very lucky with that. Let's say the demand last year was extremely high. A lot of people enjoying cigar in their house, just like we are doing right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, the demand is still up. You know, there's still a lot of work to do. And yeah, I mean, we're taking a lot of precautions. We added a couple of new members to our health environment team in the factory, in order, you know, for us to make sure we're doing the things the right way. We are around 1,200 employees in total right now, so it's a lot of people that we need to make sure are safe in our factory.
So 0.5% means just only 5 people were infected in your company. Is that correct?
More or less, yes. I remember in that time we were less than what we are now, and it was, I think, 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that, you know, we talked about it in my interview, which is, again, a shameless plug. oldguytalkstome.com, episode 21, where we go into a lot of the details about tobacco growing and the business of tobacco and cigar making. You instituted a lot of changes in the way things and processes because of your background as an engineer. And so what were some of the things that you did in the past that you think really proved to be very beneficial in this whole challenge of COVID?
Well, just the fact that the layout in the factory is better. There's less transit of staff among different facilities. Mm-hmm. So obviously the risk of exposure to COVID is less. That's one of the things. Also, we can do more in the space that we have. To be honest with you, now with COVID, like we have, for example, packaging, we had a room for that. We had to take one of the warehouse and spread the staff among those 2 spaces because, you know, we need to make sure they're safe. And with the demand, we need to hire more people. Right now, I actually have plans of doing some renovations in the facility where we manufacture the premium cigars because we have the space, but it's not organized the way it should, considering today's requirement, including COVID. So yeah, there's always some room to improve. We are actually opening a new factory as well, and I'm the one in charge of setting up all the layout. I was actually today, that's why I was a little bit delayed today, actually, because I was taking care of some of those processes over there. And yeah, I mean, my industrial engineering background, I could say that is a really good, adds a lot of value to what I'm doing. And without it, I don't know where I were right now.
Yeah. Well, I think I might have shared with you, my oldest daughter is an industrial engineer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that's what her degree is in. So let's talk about some of the other cigars that you guys got. And again, I'm gonna plug. You go to oldguytalkstome.com and episode 21, where you see my interview with Ram. and we get into a lot of stuff, including how in the fuck did he get this name Ram? So actually, that's kind of an interesting story. Let's talk about how you got this, because you did your education in the United States, right? You're in Rensselaer, is that correct? If I remember correctly, Rensselaer?
In Ithaca.
Ithaca, yeah. And so was Ram your fraternity name or what?
No. So my real name is Radames. Yes. And the hard part of it is that in Spanish, the H is silent. So I have an H right in the middle. It's Radhames.
Well, that's like in Komarnitsky, because I have a silent J at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. So even in school, I remember there was this teacher. I was very good in that class, but she knew the name of everybody but mine. Like, she always asked for to one of the students by their name, but to me. And one day I approached her like, hey, like, what the hell is wrong with you? You know, like why do you never call me by my name? She was like, to be honest with you, I have no idea how to pronounce your name, and I don't want to, feel ashamed. All the time I've been, traveling to the U.S. And to, not only the U.S., anybody that doesn't speak Spanish, they always struggle with my name. I have this customer that used to call me Mike. And at the end, he baptized me with Ram, because I was told, like, from Radames to Mike, it's way too far one to the other. So he basically baptized me with Ram.
So Ram, Jade here says, totally get you. I am Yahaira.
Yahaira.
And everybody says Jade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try growing up with a name like Orest Komarnitsky. I've for years, for 30 years, I've tried to get my friends to baptize their kids Orest, and no one jumps at it. No one jumps at that opportunity. So you got the Ram. You got it was baptized, but you got that name from one of your customers, and so that's how that came. I mean, it's a cool name. I mean,
thank you.
It is a fucking macho name. I mean, it's fucking. I mean, it's just like a chest beating, fucking name, and I'm Ram. Like,
yeah.
Holy shit! I better get out of your fucking way. Oh man. So what do you see for your guy? Okay, so we talked about that. So talk to us about one of my favorite cigars. I want to talk to you about, and of course, Ram. I'd love to get him on my podcast. I just mentioned that. I think I'll I always like to beat a horse.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's true. Yeah, you never know.
You never know. You never know. Somebody's might listening. Carrot Top, I'm still trying to get you on my podcast. So talk to us. You got two versions of the Big Papi. You got the Big Papi cigar, which is it's kind of deceptive because it's a little darker wrapper, and it looks like it'd be a heavy smoke, but it's actually a very smooth smoke. And Angel says, I love your cigars, Buffalo 10. I'm from Tom Burrell, but I live in Long Island, New York. Ram was.
He's my homeboy. I'm from Tom Burrell too.
Okay, so you're your homeboy. And the other one is Ram. What is the difference between
fermentation in very big pilones and very small ones?
Is that a sexual question, or is that like a size matters deal, or what? Benchworks, is that a size matter deal? What the hell is that all about?
He's talking about tobacco. So there are many different ways to ferment tobacco. At the end, what we want is the wild yeast in the environment to eat all the sugars inside the.
Jay goes, oh my God.
Yeah. We want the leaf to eat the sugar out of the tobacco leaf. Basically, that's the goal. So in order for this to happen, you need to guarantee three things to that wild yeast. You need to provide them food, oxygen, and water.
Okay, so I'm going to step back before. What's a pilone?
A pilon is a pile of tobacco.
Okay. All right.
Yes. So the very small ones are usually the temperature doesn't go up very, very much. The main reason is it doesn't hold all that air, and even the wild yeast that like they don't stay that well inside. Like there's more air passing through, and the temperatures goes lower. You know, the pilon, the fermentation is happening when the temperatures goes up. Then with a big one, the tobacco is more compressed, so that adds up to the fermentation. But the problem with that is that you have just a crazy fermentation going on there, and the temperature is gonna go up very high, and you're probably not gonna have a very homogeneous, like the fermentation is not gonna be the same in the whole leaf. So you're gonna see in some parts it's gonna get darker than the other parts. Yeah, that's one of the problems of having very big pilones. That doesn't really matter depending what are you fermenting. If you know that what you have there is fillers, it doesn't matter. You know that you can have stains in fillers, and at the end nothing is gonna happen. But if you're looking for wrapper, you probably want to keep it a little bit smaller, so the temperature doesn't go up like crazy. Another problem that can happen if the tobacco doesn't have the oil that it needs in order to handle that heat, it's gonna destroy itself. So you're gonna end up with a paste instead of a very well fermented tobacco leaf.
So somebody's actually got to be watching that on a regular basis. I mean,
yeah, absolutely, yes. So we need to measure their temperature on a certain period of time. It'll depend the kind of pilon you have and how ahead. Like more fermented the tobacco, the temperature is gonna raise on a slower pace because there's not enough food for the wild yeast population to grow.
Wow. Okay. So I mean that's quite a process, and I imagine you really in your business you require. It's just like a lot like in making scotch or making bourbon or making wine. You have to have a lot of artisans in this whole process.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I know so little about tobacco comparing, you know, to some of, like, there's always something new to learn, you know, and I'm still too young to be able to say like, oh yeah, I know everything. No, you know, there's just too much to learn. There's different ways to achieve the final result, you know. You go to Nicaragua and you see the pilones in a very different way of the pilones that you see here in the Dominican Republic. You might go to Turkey, I don't know, and they have there's this oriental tobacco that they ferment for their shisha, and it's completely different of what we see here, you know.
That's this whole interesting, and that processing is very interesting. How do you transfer, or how do people transfer? Let's see here, our guy Ram Grease from ASOAMRA team. What's
that's a secret sect that I'm part of.
Oh shit! Are you like the Trilateral Commission, things like that?
Yeah, it's like Illuminati, you know. Like I can go deep, but somebody will shoot me.
Yeah, and you're a Mason
if I talk
too.
Too much.
And he's a Mason too. let's see what other politically incorrect shit we can say here on this program. So how do you plan? Because you obviously you've been in general, your family has been in the business for a long time, and people that have this knowledge die off. You know,
yep.
How do you make sure that the experience, the artisan skills, the art, and all that gets transferred on to younger generations?
It's a matter of making sure you have the right young person next to you with enough passions in order to learn from us, you know. And I always say, like, I wish there could be like a book, like a follow-up guide that you can just, you know, like, do I need to flip the bell? Hold on, let me check on page number 13. I don't know. it's impossible. Every single season is completely different one to the other. There are so many different things that you need to take care of. And I actually have talked about that. Like, is there a way to standardize the fermentation process mainly to heads in very big companies, And even then, like, they haven't figured anything out like that, You just need a lot of experience, a lot of hours invest in learning about the art of fermenting a tobacco, the art of making a cigar, and on this industry overall, in order for you to become an expert and to understand everything.
Well, and not only that, but it's not just the knowledge. It's actually the physical ability to have the olfactory senses, to be able to smell. And I'm sure there's some taste involved to be able to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, all that is, and that's not something some of that can be learned, but I think a lot of it is you're either born with it or you're not.
Yeah, I see it. Like, you really need to have passion for this industry in order for you to really become part of it. I totally agree with you on that. You really need to like cigars and have a very curious palate in order for you to understand. You need to be able to curious enough to discover what a bad cigar based on your thought, because this is very subjective, and that's the main issue. I can ask 1,000 people which is the best cigar there is, and they will all of them have different answers, and maybe the one somebody said that is the worst is the best for somebody else.
Right.
It's so subjective that yes, you really need to have it in your blood, let's say.
Yeah, no, I think that's very true. What do you see for your, obviously things have opened up.
Did you know that there are 76 additives that have been approved by the FDA that can be added to wines? You want a wine with shit in it that may not be good for you? Well, there is an option for wines that have been produced naturally, organically, that have been tested, that have no sugar. And when they don't have any sugar, that means that they're ketosis and intermittent fasting friendly. These wines have been produced with a great deal of care on small farms and are available to you. How do you get them? Find out by going to www.oldguytalks.com/dry farms, all one word with an S, and find out more. And with your initial order, you can get a bottle for 1 penny. That's right, a bottle for 1 penny. And they taste great. They taste great. Don't wait, don't hesitate, don't procrastinate. Get those wines now.
Things have opened up. Things have opened up, and I'm sure that things have opened up in the Dominican Republic too. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
In terms of COVID. So how do you get back to where you were in terms from a business production standpoint? And so let me ask you this: what things are the same, and what things have permanently changed as a result of the whole COVID thing?
Well, the work environment, safetyness, procedures had changed, and it will stay like that for a very long period of time. I'm pretty sure, and even the traveling part of the business, like, this is something that is never gonna be the same as it was before. I'm sure of that as well. For us, since the demand is being so high, everybody here has been so busy. The numbers of almost everybody that I have asked in the industry, they went up last year, including us. And we are also tobacco traders, so I can also, see that some companies are buying much more than what they use tobacco than what they are used to. So on that side, the business is going on a very good path. But things are getting more complicated here. Making sure that everybody's safe. The fact that the demand is so high, there's a really big shortage of labor to make cigars right now. And that's, an added thing to the whole equation. And many other things, like, I'm pretty sure things are not gonna be the way it used to be before COVID. You know, we're
Right.
gonna still have some scars after all of this.
Yeah, I think so. So, what do you see for your company in the future? Do you have other cigars that you're going to bring online, or what do you see for El Artista in the next few years?
Yes, we usually do a couple of mild releases, like a line addition, and or you know, things like that, once a year, plus a big release like a new brand. For us, you know, last year we didn't do anything of that. We did a release on the Buffalo 10 Natural. For this year, the releases that we're gonna have is the brand new Buffalo 10. All the Buffalo 10 smokers know already what the new wrapper is gonna be, because we actually have it written on the label the whole time that it's gonna be a natural, a Maduro, and a Connecticut. So the next one is gonna be a Connecticut. One of the good things, by the way, you know, the positive out of all this negativity of COVID is that I've been able to spend much more time here in the country, playing around with tobacco and discovering new things and learning new things. I'm very, very excited about this new release. The cigar for me is outstanding. There's a little new thing that I've never tried before, and it's in the binder. This cigar will have a Cameroon from African Cameroon as binder. That really adds a lot of floral and sweet notes to the smoke.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that one. And other than that, actually, what I'm smoking now, this is gonna be the new Slugger. This is the second line we did for the Big Papi line. This is gonna be the Slugger Robusto. This cigar will be released this year as well.
So let's talk about, because I got the Big Papi, the original, and so you got two versions. You got this, and because we got sidetracked somehow, was surprised. We got the Big Papi. And you also have the Slugger, which I have to tell you, I've given the Slugger as a gift to a few people here and there, and they're confused. You need to put instructions, because they ask, which end do you cut?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Big Papi, and then we can talk about the Slugger, which is really, it's a cool, it's all right. Let's go back. Let's talk about the Slugger. Let's talk about the Slugger, because it's in the shape of a baseball bat, and a lot of the question I go, you know, people have asked me like, well, which end do I cut? So.
So you're supposed to cut the head of the bat.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Unless you want to really work hard on smoking the cigar.
Yeah, it will be a little bit hard.
So tell us a little bit about the Big Papi and how that came into existence.
So we actually know David for a while. We've been part of.
And David, you explain to our audience, because some of the people may not know Big Papi. They may not know David Ortiz.
David Ortiz, the former Boston Red Sox player. We know him for a while. We've been sponsoring his golf tournament for a couple of years. And who don't know, he has a foundation, the David Ortiz Foundation. They help kids with heart diseases here in the Dominican Republic and in the U.S. as well.
Uh-huh.
And all the time we usually, you know, bring a roller to make some fresh cigars and have some samples, you know, for the golfers. And he loves cigars all the time. When we started, he was still an active a member of the Boston Red Sox, and all the time anytime he had time, he went to the rolling table, you know, to get some cigars. He always said like, hey, you know, when are we gonna make my brands? I want some cigars, you know, by me. And I told him like, you know, let's meet up at the factory and blend together and let's come with something nice. He said he will do it for me, it was like probably like yeah, he's not gonna do nothing, you know. But yeah, a couple of weeks after, I get a call from his manager. Hey, David told me that you guys are meeting. I'm calling you to get the date. So he came to the factory. We start rolling. We came up with the original blend, the one you have over there, and we started manufacturing that cigar just for himself. Maybe 100 to 200 cigars we were making and shipped to him every 1 or 2 months. He was an active member, a player, so in his free time he had these cigars and shared it with his friends. We continued doing the sponsoring of his tournament, and one day I pitched in the idea like, hey, you know, we should release this as a cigar brand, you know, like let's make Big Papi cigar a thing. He liked the idea. We start talking
so I don't know
about
if you see Jade, like she likes the Big Papi too.
Yeah.
So you're saying
it's a very good cigar.
So you said so let's release a cigar. Let's make that a line in your that you're producing. So talk a little about that.
Yeah. What was that? What?
Yeah, you mentioned that I didn't mean to interrupt you because you were talking about making it a line in your cigar. You decided like, okay, this is a private thing, and all of a sudden you said let's make it let's go big on this.
We came back and forth. At the end, we basically draft an agreement, and I never heard from him. The main reason is because since he was still with the MLB, he was not able to become of any part of anything related to tobacco because of his contract.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, I get this phone call. It was the springtime of his manager. Hey, David wants to meet you. Can you come tomorrow? Like, yeah, sure. So I jump in a plane. I went to Fort Myers, where the Boston Red Sox spring training ballpark is, and we signed the agreement finally. And for me, that was a very interesting trip, mainly because, you know, I'm Dominican. I love baseball, but I don't follow it like the way I didn't saw baseball like how big it is in the U.S. I know here it's big, but I didn't know it was that big in the U.S. When he also invited me to the game next day, and it was actually his last spring training game. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that 80% of the people that went to see that game were there only for David, with big signs, "We will miss you, Big Papi," everybody wearing his jersey. I was like, oh my God, like this is unbelievable, you know, how much people love David Ortiz. Part of the contract, what it says is that we can pre-sell, but we cannot sell any cigar before they are out of the season. And so we went to IPCPR to do the release. We sold a lot of boxes.
What's IPSCR? What was that?
That was IPCPR 2017, I think it was.
But what was IP? What was that? What did the initial stand for?
Oh, international. That's the trade show. The International Premium. What's PCA right now? Premium Cigar Association.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I
okay.
should know, but I
know, that's all right.
Anyway, so in the trade show, we sold a lot of cigars. We pre-sold, and we were just waiting, you know. They did an outstanding season, the Boston Red Sox, and it was kind of a sweet and sour feeling for me because I wanted to start pushing the cigars to the market, and everybody was waiting for it. But at the same time, I didn't want my team to lose, you know. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, after that, we released the cigar in October of that same year. We did an event in New York with David, and that was kind of the official release. And after that, it's all history, man.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So, and so you got some other versions of the Big Papi coming out coming soon. So let's talk about some of the other cigars that you have. You have the one that's named, I believe it's after your grandfather, or is it after your father?
After my grandfather, Polita 60 Aniversario. Yes, so that cigar, we're starting blending that cigar 5 years before our anniversary. So we wanted to do something very special for that 60th year milestone. And what I did is that I started checking the very old brand cards that we still have from the 60s mainly. And I saw this tobacco in particular in all of those sheets, the Negrito, Negrito, Negrito. I have no idea what Negrito is. I asked my father, and he told me, like that was a thing before, but like nobody grows Negrito anymore because it's easier and cheaper to grow other seeds.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I want some Negrito. He basically laughed at me like, you're not gonna get it. But I was able to get it through the Dominican Tobacco Institute and some friends of the industry. We were able to get some seeds. We started growing and trying that tobacco, and eventually I was able to get a little bit of that. So commercial grade Negrito tobacco, and we use it in the Polita as wrapper. The Polita was actually the nickname of my grandfather. So, and the design of the band is very similar to the band that we used to do back there in the 50s and 60s. For me, it was a very beautiful project that a lot of members of my family, including my grandmother, were involved into it because I just wanted to make sure it was something that could represent what my grandfather used to smoke. Back when he was around with us. And yeah, it's just a very special cigar for me.
That's nice that you have that whole family heritage for multi-generations, that you were able to interact with your grandfather and your father and all of that. So is there a Ram cigar in the future?
I don't think so, man.
Oh,
I don't see it.
Oh, bullshit! Yeah. There's got to be. There's got to be. It's a beautiful marketing name, dude. What the fuck, man?
leave that for the next generation, man.
No. You got to make your legacy now. You got to have a Ram cigar. It's a perfect marketing name. I mean, oh, what are you smoking tonight? I'm smoking the Ram.
Comparing to other people in the industry, I usually try to stay a little bit on the lower profile. Nothing wrong about, that is actually, I think, a very good way, to help your brand grow. In my case, it's just not me, for me, I always say, el artista means the artist. And some people ask me, who is the artist? Are you the artist? I'm like, no, I'm not the artist. I'm part of the artists that we have in our facility. That wake up early in the morning every single day to do what they love, which is making beautiful, good quality cigars.
Yeah. So I'm going to switch tracks here. Your company does a lot of work in helping the people that are around you in terms of basically supporting your community. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
Yeah, we try to give back as much as we can. I think, a company is not only built by a family, it's built, by a whole community. And we are very grateful that we are a part of the town of Tamboril, the town that saw me grow, and saw my mom and my dad grow as well. And we try to help as much as we can. One of the things that we have done is we have built roads, even electricity networks to some places where they didn't have electricity in those parts. We have done, we sponsor sports tournaments over there, and we also give English scholarships to some students from the local public high school in Tamboril as well. We do a little bit of everything. And another thing is that we are one of the very few factories that reduce their emissions by installing solar panels in 40% of our facilities. And yeah, we try to give back, you know, as much as we can.
Yeah, that's a very important thing. What are, in terms of that, share with us some of the success stories that your philanthropy, that's a big word. Holy shit! I didn't think I wasn't expecting to use a word.
That's
with
a strong one. Yeah.
I was expecting to use a word with so many syllables in it. And what most people don't know is, I mean, they're surprised, but actually English is my second language. I did not learn English until I was started at 6 and 7. So what are some of the examples of some individual stories of the benefits of your philanthropy? You know, what difference have you made in the lives of maybe give us a couple examples of individual people?
Yeah. So I could mention two briefly that, you know, like really had helped me to realize that to give back is something that is really good on regardless whether you may see it, like realize that it's actually working or not. But I know this person, like he's from you know, a very poor family, and we aid him with a scholarship in an English institute. He graduated from the English Institute. He graduated from college, from high school, and he did very good in college. After that, he was able to get a scholarship in the U.S. And one day, you know, I saw like what was going on, and I, you know, we text each other through Instagram, like, hey, you know, I'm very happy for you, you know, to see you achieving your goals. And he said like he couldn't do it without the help that we did, you know, supporting him with the English school, in order, because without that, without knowing English, he was not going to be able to get that scholarship, you know. Other than that, I always try to help. Like in my case, my financial, I'm very organized, you know, like I try always to transmit that to people, like, you know, like even very simple stuff, you know, like don't spend on what you don't need, you know, like keep something for tomorrow, you know. Mm-hmm. And this person in particular, here, borrowing money in the streets, it's actually legal, so, and a lot of people do it with a very high interest rates.
Sure.
And this person in particular used to take money like that all the time, and I told him, like, why don't you go to a bank? You know, oh, I don't have any credit, I have nothing. Okay, well, you're getting paid here through the bank, so they know you have an income.
Right.
Yeah, but they won't give me the money I need. No, they won't give it to you now, but they will give it to you eventually. Mm-hmm. So go there and apply for a credit card. Who knows what will happen? He did it, and he got like a very small credit. But I all the time, like, take everything with your credit card. You know, like try to use it as much. Don't get crazy. You know, mm-hmm. Make sure you pay.
Make sure you have time to make sure you don't exceed what you can pay.
Exactly. Eventually, I remember one day, he tells me like, hey, I want to talk to you. Yeah, let's go. He takes me to the parking lot and showed me the car. Like, oh, I have this car, and it's thanks to you. You know, like, I didn't believe I was able to do it. It took me a while, but look what I built. Thanks to all your advice. You know. After that, we actually decide. We have a program with a local credit union, and we share our information, and they basically set it up, a credit union on the factory, and they give talks to the staff, you know, learning how to save money, you know, how to do it smart with your investments and your expenses. And I'm pretty sure that eventually we're gonna see some very good results on that as well.
Yeah, it's amazing that you know.
I don't have COVID.
Oh, okay. I'm vaccinated. I don't give a shit. I didn't give a shit before I was vaccinated, but I don't give a shit now anyway. Yeah, I got the old guy got vaccinated, but he didn't give a shit before. Actually, I'm stunned. I did not get COVID because I was in early 2020. I went to CES here in Las Vegas, and apparently that was a big spreader event. And then I was in New York City in February. And somehow I managed not to get COVID. My wife and I managed not to get COVID, which is totally surprising because I would have thought that we would have. Yeah. Yeah. So you guys do a lot of good work with your community, which is very admirable. For the future, what do you see for you guys doing with your community?
I always had the plan of actually formalizing like an ONG.
What's that?
Non-profit organization.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's I don't know, ONG in Spanish. I'm sorry. I got my language mixed up over there. Funded by the factory to give back. For me, like I always say that one of the most important, social responsibility starts in home. That's usually kind of the slogan that we have, like our inner slogan, which means is that like before going out there helping as much as we can, we need to make sure, that we are helping everybody that is working in our organization. I have a couple of things that I have in mind that I'm still not ready to share, but hopefully I'll get the good ideas and the right people next to me in order to achieve those goals.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, it sounds like I mean, it's truly an amazing. You guys have an amazing history over several generations, and the fact that you're able to deal with so many people and have a positive influence. What do you see for the cigar industry in the future, and the challenges that you're facing? I know that there's all sorts of laws, especially in the United States, which I assume is one of your biggest. Is the United States your biggest market, or is it? Okay.
It is. Yeah.
So what challenges do you see for yourself now post COVID in terms of growing your market in the United States?
I know it's a cliche, but all the regulations, government regulations, I think that's the biggest challenge to all of us, the people that enjoy cigars. So I think that's basically the biggest challenge. Also, the problems we're having here with very hard seasons. Last season was very good, but before we had a way too much rain, and before that it was extremely dry. So we need to make sure that we are able, to improve our growing process in order to guarantee the quality in the future.
Yeah. How do you control the amount when you have low or high rains? How do you control the growth? How do you control the volume of moisture that you have?
So adding water, like if it's too dry, if you have a good source of water, it's not that hard, but even that sometimes get a little bit harder. And the truth is the rainwater is the best you can get to grow tobacco. When there's too much rain, that's also a big problem because there's a lot of chances of mold.
Okay.
And other diseases. So you need to make sure that you are applying the right product in order to control all those kind of diseases.
Okay, well that's very good. So I'm going to say, like, if you want to find out more about growing, go to oldguytalkstome.com, episode 21, where I talk with Ram, and we had a very fun conversation. We kind of have some of the stuff we covered is similar today, and some of it was very, very different that we talked about. I'm sorry, you were going to say something. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That you remember the which episode it was it. So that's very good. Good memory.
Yeah, the old guy remembers stuff. It's amazing. My wife was always amazed at the stuff that I remember. Some of it's not important, but some of it is. And I do remember her birthday, and I do remember our anniversary, which is very important if you are in a committed relationship. It's very important to remember those two particular dates. And thank God for Microsoft Outlook and the reminders.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's good for you, but I have a reminder for those important holidays in my family.
Yeah. So, well, Ram, I want to thank you for coming on this Instagram Live and for us having the opportunity to sit down and talk and again. And appreciate it. I look forward to meeting you. We've never met in person. I look forward to meeting you in person and having a cigar and a drink and dinner with you sometime here in the not too distant future. I suspect that the Las Vegas, good for you to know. I don't know. You may already know this, but Las Vegas is opening up. It's first of all, you can't get an Uber because people are making so much money on the unemployment that they don't want to drive anymore. We had a party at our house the other night, and some of our friends couldn't get it. They tried. They couldn't get an Uber. They couldn't get a Lyft back to their hotel. It was like oh my God. And eventually they were able to get it, but they were like going like from the cheapest to the highest level of Uber, like the Uber Elite or whatever, and they still couldn't get a ride back down into the Strip. But look forward to meeting you in person and having a cigar and having a drink and maybe even sharing a meal, depending on how busy you are. I know you're very busy at these shows when you come back. It's all sounds great, but for you, I'm sure it's a lot of work in terms of coming to a show.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to meet in person with you as well. Thank you very much to invite me to this live. And for everybody, follow El Artista at El Artista Cigars. We're here on Instagram. Follow me as well. And thank you very much to everybody for smoking El Artista Cigars. Yeah,
to do it and get yourself the Buffalo 10. And then, of course, my go-to cigar is the Big Papi.
The Big Papi.
Big Papi. And I have not smoked the Slugger yet. But I will sometime. That strikes me as a special occasion cigar.
Yeah, give it a try. You're gonna like it.
I will. All right, Ram. Well, thank you very much, and my best to you. And I look forward to meeting you in person. Take care.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining me on this podcast. If you like what you heard and learned, then be sure to do 3 things. 1, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. 2, share this with someone who may need to hear it also, and it may be your significant other. And 3, review it. Give me a good review. If you didn't like it, give me a bad review. I don't care. Just review me. And be sure to get my free video on 3 ways to get laid more frequently without begging. Opt in at oldguytalks.com. Don't be that guy that just takes in the information. Take action. Without action, you're not going to get the results you want.